Hello and welcome to another... Bruce. Turn us back off, please.
Here.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tipped Balls podcast. I am your host, Sam Randazzo. Momentarily, I will be joined by my two really chilly co-hosts. To my right, it is the one, the only Uncle Sam.
Hello.
And to my left, it's none other than our very own Mr. Zolo, Mike Palazzolo.
Blessed.
I can't see Uncle Sam's other bicep, so I would appreciate you to zoom out just a little bit.
You want his bicep?
Yeah, I mean, he's barely in the fucking picture there. How about we just turn? Yeah, just turn it a little bit.
It's gotta be center.
Well, now it's still not fucking center, you jackass. There we go. Okay, better.
It's better. You gotta get my juice helmet in there.
Yeah, you gotta have the juice in
Gotta
there.
have the juice on Murderer's Row.
You gotta have the Buffalo helmet proudly displayed right now, especially with the Bills' big win this weekend. It's a super wild card weekend recap. We have so much to talk about today. A lot of bitching. There was a ton of upsets. A few things went exactly how we thought they would, and we're going to talk about all of that. First and foremost, Uncle Sam, how was your weekend?
Oh, good. Good. I watched a lot of football. It was cold. Cold weekend.
Very cold here. Extremely cold. Highlights, low points, pits, peaks, anything? What happened? Besides watching football, what
That's
happened?
all I did was watch football. That's it.
Okay.
That's all I did. I didn't do shit.
Did you eat anything good?
Not really.
No?
No.
Zolo, how about you?
Cheesecake.
I got one highlight.
Hit me.
Lions won again. What's in there?
A little cappuccino. Little Showtime cappuccino for today. Listen, as much as I want the Aladdin, I actually need to sleep at some point tonight, so I decided to go with the cappuccino.
You know I'm lacking in sleep too.
Yeah, it's been one of those weeks so far.
Yeah.
Any low points this weekend? Any good eats?
It was cold.
It was very cold.
It's cold as shit.
Yeah.
I don't know when the last time I saw you guys was, but I got some ribeye caps from Costco, and I made ribeye caps and Zolo's famous garlic mash. On I don't remember if I did it Thursday or Friday, but they were the ribeye caps, they turned out perfect.
That's the best cut of meat you can get.
It's the caps. They're like
Yes.
perfectly fatty. If they're not tied together, they fall apart. And man, they slapped.
See, all ribeye cap is the layman's term for spinalis.
Yes, it's spinalis.
It's fucking spinalis. So when you're at Maple and Ash in Chicago and you pay $200 for your spinalis, that's what it is. You're eating a ribeye cap. Anyways, that's tipped meats for today. Bruce, what's going on?
Nothing much, man. Lions won again, as Zolo said.
How was the game from both of your guys' perspectives?
Yeah,
Just
I'm gonna incorporate Bruce because I want him to be a part of that conversation. I want to make sure he's a part of that.
Yeah, I mean, when you have people there, they've got to be a part of the conversation. Okay, we got some business to take care of before we get into all of our talk from this weekend. We are going to officially kick off our biggest tipped giveaway ever. Okay? As soon as we get into the Lions recap, there's going to be a post on our Instagram page spelling out the details of this, but we are going to give away 2 lower bowl tickets to the Lions-Buccaneers divisional playoff game this weekend at Ford Field. Michigan residents only, but we are giving away, my co-host didn't even know about this. We're giving away 2 tickets to go to the game.
Can I enter?
I mean, yeah, it's going to be drawn at random, all right? This is what you've got to do, okay? We're going to read some of these out on the show, but I want you guys to let me know in the comments why you should win the tickets. That's number 1. Number 2, the post is going to go live within the next 2 minutes here. You need to like that post. You need to tag a couple friends underneath it, and you need to be following Tip Balls, all right? That's how you enter, but I want to hear good reasons why you should be the one to get the tickets in the chat today on the show. If you don't have anybody in mind that you can send this link to right now, get them in here. Get them in the comments. We're going to blow this thing up today. We're going to blow up the chat, all right? We're giving away 2 tickets. On Friday, the winner... Actually, we're doing a show Thursday this week. So on Thursday, our winner will be announced live on the show. So you got like 48 hours. You got 48 hours to get it out, okay? Smith said, what about if you don't have Instagram? Shoot us an email, tippedballs@gmail.com. If you don't have an Instagram, send us your information. I'll make sure that you get entered that way. But we want to hear why you want to go. Let your friends know. Send this link out. Copy and paste it off YouTube. Send this link out. Get them in the chat today. I want good reasons on why you should get the tickets. Remember, follow us on Instagram. The post is going live as soon as I finish this dialogue. Double tap that post and tag some of your friends underneath. You got to be following Tip Balls to be entered. So do that or email tipballs@gmail.com for Smith. Indeed it is. That was a fabulous shout out to Elizabeth for the good idea there. But yes, we're going to give away 2 lower bowl tickets to the divisional round playoff game. Outside of that, that's our big announcement for. What do you think of that? We're a show of the people.
I think
Is it
it's pretty
live?
cool.
Can I put this on my story yet?
Yes, it is. You're tagged in it.
Yeah,
If you go look,
that's
you're tagged in it.
badass.
Go mash that Instagram right now. But we're a show of the people, and that's how we're giving back. After a great year that we've had down here, we're going to get the people going with a nice Lions ticket giveaway for this weekend. Let's do the news. So, there has been nothing but rumors. There's been nothing but speculation about this coaching carousel that has been going on. A lot of the news has to do with that. Obviously, big piece of news from yesterday was the fact that A.J. Brown didn't play in the Eagles game. They said that it was due to some sort of lower body injury. I didn't even see him there. I don't even think he was on the sideline for that game yesterday. And we'll talk about more. We'll talk about more of that when we get into that game. But that was a big surprise to me that he didn't suit up and play in that. People close to Russell Wilson are saying that the Vikings are going to be his best potential destination, and that Vikings management would prefer offering him a contract than re-signing Kirk Cousins.
Huh.
Mind-boggling to me. What do you think about that?
I'd sign Kirk Cousins and draft a quarterback.
Over Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I think Kirk Cousins was an absolute monster before he got hurt last year.
And in the beginning of this year.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sorry. I meant this year. He was good last year. He was good. One of his better years. This year he was on pace to do some like reckless shit. And that's a good situation if you manage Justin Jefferson, he's there. Jordan Addison improved a lot. They're going to get Hawkinson back probably in the middle of the year next year. There's a lot to like about what's going on there. So it's interesting. I don't know if Russ is the answer. I'd rather stick with Cousins with the continuity. You draft a young quarterback and go from there.
Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh interviewed for the Los Angeles Chargers job. Both sides have said that the interview went well. That's as far as we've really gotten on it. Zolo, do you have anything else on that or any thoughts?
I still don't think that's a fit for him. I don't love that for Harbaugh. That's just call me crazy. I still think he would look a lot better somewhere out east. Or maybe Vegas. Vegas is a little more of a fit. Seems like they're pretty locked in on Antonio Pierce.
Seems like that they're going to make the right
Which is the right decision.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't think the Chargers are a fit. I still think the Commanders would look really good with Jim Harbaugh. That's my 2 cents on Harbaugh.
Center Jason Kelsey informed teammates last night in the locker room that he is retiring from the NFL. So one of the great centers, longtime Philadelphia Eagle, Jason Kelsey, officially stepping away from the game last night after their loss. Yeah, he was crying on the sidelines. They had the cameras following him off the field, the whole thing. So you kind of knew that this was coming.
It's a tough thing. It's a tough thing to see a team pack it in, and they packed it in.
They fucking packed it.
They packed it in, and to watch, he's a good guy. Unlike his brother, he's not a sellout. And,
He likes you like him because he looks like you.
No, I
He could be your
you know what?
son.
I respect him. I respect him because he played the game the right way. You know,
The Saints fired their offensive coordinator, Pete Carmichael. That is a huge deal to me because the biggest knock we had on the Saints all year was that the offense had no fucking idea, no identity. It was an actual joke. They had no plan of attack going in, game in, and game out. So I think that was a big move from them and one that needed to be done. A little bit of Chiefs news. Patrick Mahomes will be playing his first ever away playoff game this weekend.
interesting.
Does that will playing in Buffalo instead of Arrowhead have any effect on him?
I don't think so.
Your thoughts real quick.
I don't think so because the weather's the same in both places. So,
How lucky are they, the draw that they had? They got to play the Dolphins while they were most banged up at home. And now they get to go play a Bills team, in my opinion, that didn't look good yesterday. That didn't look, it was just a couple plays. How lucky are they that it's set up that way?
Yeah.
The Atlanta Falcons had owner Arthur Blank had a 3-hour-long interview with former Patriots coach Bill Belichick. And people close to him said that the offer or that the interview was quote unquote exceptional.
Well, Arthur Blank has shot a lot of blanks before when it comes to hiring the big name head coaches. And we talked about this last week. You weren't here, but Arthur Blank has been pushing for this narrative since the summer. If Belichick became available, he's available. I highly doubt he lets him get away. And do you guys think it's a fit?
Do I think it's a fit?
You're a Falcons guy, so you better
I'm a
fucking
Falcons
think it's
guy
a fit.
and I'm a Belichick guy. This is what I'm going to say. I think it's a fit if Arthur Blank goes to a completely hands-off approach and just lets him. So let's talk about this real quick. All right, this Belichick situation. Everybody keeps talking about how great of a fit Belichick would be to replace Mike McCarthy in Dallas if Jerry Jones so chooses to get rid of him. And I disagree 100%. At first, I was like, oh, yeah, it's perfect. You got one of the best coaches of all time going to the most lights shining franchise in the NFL. I don't think that's the case anymore because I don't think Jerry Jones can stay out of it enough for Belichick to go there. And I think Belichick knows that. The Atlanta job entices me because I will still stand by the fact that I think the Atlanta Falcons are only a quarterback away from being a 10 to 12 win football team and winning that division. So if Belichick can get a quarterback with the talent they have there and the strong, young-ish defense that they have going on, I think it's a perfect fit. I think it's a match made in heaven, to be honest. And I have to, as of yesterday morning, because I hate the Eagles so much, I was a Buccaneers guy again. But now I'm back off the train.
Good.
But just for yesterday, I had to be Buccaneers.
We'll get into that with. I want Todd Bowles talk when we get into that.
We're going to get into Todd Bowles talk. I knew that question would be asked, and I came prepared. Chargers completed an interview with Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan as well today for their head coaching vacancy. Outside of that, I don't really care to talk about all that, the rest of this really. So I think we should just hop right into Lions, go from the Lions into the rest of the weekend. I don't think anybody really gives a shit about the new general manager hire in Washington, right?
No.
Let's go to the Lions. Bruce, hit us with a recap. Okay. I'm not going to waste any time here. The Detroit Lions hosted the Los Angeles Rams at Ford Field. Stafford came back to town, going up against Goff, who was the throw-in the Stafford trade. And our Detroit Lions came out on top 24-23. Zolo, take it.
Hit it, Bruce. Thing number one is Jerry Goff now. And that's King Jerry Goff to all of you. Goff was pretty much perfect. That was, considering the week that he probably went through, that was as good as it got. He had no incompletions in the first half. I think he went into the fourth quarter with one incompletion. He threw a couple away in the fourth quarter. Of course, the Rams defense tightened up a little bit, but in an emotional, high-stakes game that I'm sure weighed on Jared Goff, he delivered. And honestly, the counter, too. Stafford was not perfect, but Stafford was pretty damn good on Sunday night as well. But that was Jared Goff's night, and it was just really fucking cool to see the crowd acknowledge that from start to finish. And you could tell he was emotional, and it was amazing to be a part of. Bruce, what are your thoughts?
Jared Goff, Jared Goff, Jared Goff. My section started that chant, by the way.
I mean,
You're
my
a dick
section,
because you wanted to replace him with Hendon Hooker.
my
2 weeks
section
ago.
also started that chant. So
I
every
was-
section
I
started
was
that chant.
Screaming it until it caught on. It was just so exciting.
Go ahead, Uncle Sam. You're shaking your head.
I'm amazed how Bruce, got 62,000 people to chant Jerry Goff. Anyway,
My section also started the booing of
What'd you-
Kelly Stafford.
I thought the first drive of that game was exceptional.
Yeah.
That was my opinion. And actually, the whole first half, they played pretty well.
We're just
They
waiting
played
for
pretty
someone
well.
to blink on both sides. Both
Huh?
teams offensively.
Yeah,
was sitting there waiting for someone to blink.
Puka Nacua was going to be
Yeah.
heavily targeted.
Sam called that.
And let me tell you something. He is no joke. I mean, I get it. He broke the record and everything, but the guy that record he broke did it in 14 games, not 4 less games. So I don't know. I love what they did. It was great that they won. The third quarter bullshit still continues to linger on.
Hold on.
because-
That's one of my things. That was a
Okay.
3-3 third quarter.
I'm sorry?
That was a 3-3 third quarter.
Yeah, but the problem is this. Teams make adjustments for the play calling of the Lions at the half. And every fucking game, you got the same results and inept offense through the entire third quarter. David Montgomery literally had 3 carries in the fucking second half. That, to me, is absurd. Absurd. And when you get into a situation where you're going to have to slug it out with a team, if you don't keep that team's quarterback on the bench, you're going to get torched. And I don't want to be the guy to be a hater or this or that, but I don't agree with the play calling in the second half of games with the Lions. I haven't agreed with it basically all year. And I think I'm glad they won, but you're living on borrowed time if you're going to continue to do that. You're living on borrowed time. They have an opportunity to make something very special, to make this year an absolute phenom. They have an opportunity. And hopefully, I would love to see it, is Green Bay go up and punch Frisco in the mouth. I would love to see that because I don't think anybody expected that what they were going to do, what they did.
I think I had
But
the Packers winning.
I would love to see the Lions be able to perform another game, especially in front of the crowd.
I had Dallas too.
The crowd was incredible.
Chris in the chat says Montgomery's second half usage was ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It's stupid, and it's every game. It's not just this game. It's every game, and it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Thing number 2, which I haven't talked about much, I don't think I've talked about it at all this year, but thing number 2 is special teams. I thought Jack Fox tilted the field incredibly in the third quarter when Stafford and Goff finally started to blink and there were finally issues and the defenses were adjusting and getting stops. It was Michigan and Alabama in the third quarter. It was a punt off, and Jack Fox kept flipping the field and pinning the Rams within the 20 every time. He had 2 pin within the 10. They were perfect. And on top of that, speaking of special teams, they had a 54-yard kick. Michael Badgley had a 54-yard kick that turned out to be the game winner. And that had been an issue with Michael Badgley, as he's not really very good from within or outside of a certain range. But that kick that he hit was probably good from 62. And they had no issue trotting him out there. Whereas the counter to that is the Rams have had issues kicking for weeks. And they were 32nd in the league in special teams, which is a story going in. And that probably played into the decision for McVay to punt the ball. And that also probably played into the decision for Dan Campbell to call for on third down instead of declining the penalty. That's probably why Dan Campbell accepted the penalty. He said, nah, I'm going to leave it to my defense because they can't kick from this far, and I know they're going to punt it. So it was good to see the Lions special teams, which matters at this time of the year. It was good to see the Lions special teams show out. Thing number 3, I disagree with Uncle Sam. I thought that was one of their best third quarters the entire year. Especially defensively, they came out and made adjustments on an offense that they could not stop in the first half. Not like their offense could be stopped either, but it was good to see Aaron Glenn make really prominent adjustments, and they only ended up giving up a field goal. Of course, I wish they would score more. I think a lot of the Montgomery usage and Gibbs usage comes down to the fact that defenses are adjusting. In fact, they tried to run the ball in the second half. Their running backs couldn't get into the second level. Gibbs and Montgomery were getting into the second level all over the place in the first half. And the Rams made the adjustments. Credit to Raheem Morris.
3 carries.
Yeah, but
Three carries.
I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs had all the carries and he couldn't do it either. They weren't getting past the linebackers. They wanted Goff to throw. They were trying to force errors. They need to figure that out. I think they need to figure out the play calling balance to make sure that your run game is opening up for your passing game and your passing game is opening up for your run games, and that's the way to score. That's the recipe for scoring in the second half. Uncle Sam's 100% right. They got to figure out a way to run the ball successfully in the second half. It hasn't really happened as well as we'd like it to. Of course, it works out on some of these big drives. They got some big first downs. But I need to see more. I'm with them. That's where you put the game away, is the third quarter. And you probably put it away by running the ball well. It seems that they get very hesitant at midfield. Back me up there. When they get to midfield, the play calling gets really iffy, and then they end up punting. It's something I've seen in 5 or 6 games this year.
I don't like it at all.
Anything to add?
I personally, people talk about Ben Johnson being this great offensive mind. Like I said, he's pretty repetitious, and what happens is these teams that make the adjustments in the third quarter, he doesn't counter that. He's trying to do these little dump offs and try to do play action. You can't do play action unless a run is opening things up like it did on that first drive. First drive, those 3-4 carries they gave to Montgomery, he was bashing them for 9 yards per carry. Then all of a sudden, bam, this guy's open downfield. That guy's open. And they get totally away from that. He's starting to remind me of Kyle Shanahan, and I can't get it out of my fucking head. That's what he reminds me of. He starts doing the same shit Kyle Shanahan does.
Did anybody mention the fact that Dan Campbell has gonads the size of fucking church bells?
I'm getting to it.
Okay. Well, this week they were extra big. They're extra fucking plump this week.
Go ahead.
Dan Campbell has balls the size of absolute church bells. Because when you had that, they went for it on that fucking fourth down.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't think anybody does that. Nobody does that. I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, what the fuck are they going to... They're going to let him do it again. And it took him out of field goal range, and they got the fucking stop that they needed to get. And ultimately, that could have been the difference. If the Rams kick that field... If they take that, and the Rams kick that field goal there, we might be having a completely different conversation today.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So Riverboat Dan...
Or if they would have called the pass interference on Puka Nacua.
I'm not going to get
pass
into
interference.
I'm not going to get into the officiating because they missed a lot of calls both
that was
ways.
a big call down at the end of the game.
It was, and they missed a lot of calls. Like if we're doing that, they missed a blatant offsides or encroachment,
Correct.
whatever you want to call it, that
Agree
cost
with
the
that.
Lions points. They missed 3 late hits where Jahmyr Gibbs on 2 of them was he was by
out
the
of bounds.
bench,
Yeah.
completely out of
Yeah.
bounds, and there were
Complete
late hits that
bullshit.
weren't called. Like it goes both ways.
I was shocked that a flag wasn't thrown on that hit on Stafford.
Well, when he fucking
that was
I was shocked.
That was a roughing the pass. The way they've been calling it this year, that was a roughing the passer on Stafford.
absolutely.
That was a roughing the passer. It was a roughing the passer when Hutchinson hit him.
I
it
was
was
shocked.
certainly a roughing the passer when McNeil hit him. But hey, they let him play, which is
I
fine
don't
with
think
me.
it was when Hutchinson hit him. That wasn't roughing the passer.
Then McNeil.
thing.
McNeil.
That's a different animal. He
Oh,
made
yeah.
head contact.
Oh, yeah.
And I was shocked they didn't throw the flag. I was fucking shocked.
I was shocked too. I think I actually said that. I don't. Bob was over here while I was sitting there pacing, running, and screaming, and I thought that was a surefire, fucking fire, roughing the passer call.
They let him play, and I think that's cool personally.
Yes, I would
think
rather
that the
see
less
that.
you see the refs, the better. That's my opinion. Unless it's totally blatant. But
The first
it
4
is what it
series,
is. They
Lions
listen.
had 4
They won by a
penalties, the
point,
Rams had none.
and I don't know. Being that I was at the first game, I was not at this game, so I can't judge it because I wasn't there. But to me, the first time they won a playoff game, that still sets with me, and that was absolutely amazing. 85,000 people fucking screaming.
Well, this
I don't
was our
know,
first time
you
they won a
guys-
playoff game.
Huh?
This was our first time they
Correct,
won a playoff game.
Correct.
And I'm going to get to that right now. Thing number 4, I mean, it's the talk of the town, the talk of the week was the crowd.
Shit.
Back me up. That's the
loudest
most.
I've ever fucking heard.
That's the best sporting event, like non-championship, that I've ever been to. It's the loudest sporting event I've ever been to by far, from start to finish. The crowd understood the assignment. I got there 90 minutes early. The building was like 80% filled 90 minutes early. And Dan Campbell had this great quote, like in warm-ups, you could see it, you could feel it. There was like a haze. There was just this haze of glory, and you could feel the tension. And it was just spectacular. Like from start to finish, the crowd never gave up. They understood what was happening, and they understood the severity. One of my favorite moments, and you could back me up on this, was after the first touchdown to go up 7-0. The kickoff team came out and did the swag. They played the swag surf, and the kickoff team was swag surfing, and the crowd started swag surfing. And it was just like a giant party from start to finish. Like you could just see and you could feel it. And the crowd understood with 4:20 to go. They said, all right, we need 2 first downs. The crowd knew that. Jared Goff didn't even know that, apparently. He came out afterwards and said, I didn't know until the play call came in for victory formation. But the crowd knew and knew the tension at the end of the game. And another thing I want to highlight is, if you guys caught this, Stafford's audible, which is a fair audible, and I've seen it before, but his audible involves him putting both of his hands on his head like this. It looks like he's going like this, like I can't hear. Whoever came up with that audible call is an idiot, because it happened multiple times. And every
louder.
time Stafford did this, the crowd would get louder. The crowd would go fucking batshit crazy. And both of the timeouts that were called in the second half were as a result of Stafford calling an audible and them running out of time. That directly affected the game. You caused the opposing team to call 2 timeouts because they couldn't hear and get their play call in. And guess what? You got the ball with 4:20 left, and they can only stop the clock 1 time because they didn't have those timeouts. You can make the case that the crowd had a major impact on the game. And it was so fucking incredible. I've never been a part of a crowd like that. Including 6 days before, I heard a pretty damn loud crowd, a Michigan crowd in Houston, that was batshit crazy as well. But this was just another way. Was your section standing the entire game?
I think I sat down twice.
Yeah, the lower bowl, which I've never seen before, the lower bowl didn't sit down one time.
No,
And
4 kids at halftime. That was pre-recorded.
yeah, and just like all these old, like, of course all the celebrities were there. Eminem was there, Calvin Johnson, Barry Sanders. But one of the highlights was they brought out old Lions, but from the last 10 years, not like old Lions. Like Glover Quinn, Stephen Tulloch, and Golden Tate were throwing T-shirts out, and the crowd went fucking crazy for them. And I'll never again. I've had 2 core memories last week in Michigan football and the Lions. Like it was to the point where what happens going forward, it almost like whatever, because we had last week, which was cool. But the 5th thing. This is to all of you that are watching or listening right now. Enjoy this. That's thing number 5. Enjoy this. To the point where yesterday, I didn't care. Philly, Tampa, who cares? We got a second playoff game. We got a second one. And if things are shaping up like, holy shit, are we on a hell of a ride if they pull it off again on Sunday? We're on the ride of a fucking lifetime that I never, like, all I ever wanted was just a home playoff game. I didn't even care if they won it. Of course, you get Stafford and the stakes were raised, and I really wanted to win that game Sunday. But now this is special what we're witnessing, and nothing matters anymore. There's no complaints about anything. I have no complaints. I'm along for this ride. I want to take this in for as long as possible because what we're witnessing right now is unseen. It hasn't been seen in 30. Uncle Sam had a full head of hair the last time this happened. And it's
Yeah, I did.
and that's like, I'm sure 91 was special. They went on to they won that one, and then they went on to get blown out a week later, but I'm sure that was still so special. On the road.
This time they're at home. They have
game.
a chance to do something really special.
The second game is at home.
Yeah.
Obviously, if one thing leads to another and Green Bay pulls some shit on Saturday, like, man.
Another game at home.
Man, we're talking about 3 games at home, and the third one is for the fucking Super Bowl. It's to play in the thing that's eluded this town forever. And we've watched 60-some or 50-some Super Bowls. What's it at now? 50. Are we in the 60s? It's in the 60s,
yeah.
Right? We're at 63 Super Bowls, and we've never seen our team. They've come close once. They got blown out. But what we're witnessing right now is really special. Extremely, extremely special. And all you can do is just sit back and enjoy it. And I'm sad the weather is so cold that we couldn't see the city melt down like it should have. It's a little bit better this Sunday. But what we're going through right now, like sometimes it happened with Michigan football last week. These are things that have eluded us for years. And then one day it just happens. One day Michigan beats Alabama in the Rose Bowl, and then they go and they win a national championship and they're undefeated. And it's happening again right now for the Lions. One day you win the division and you get that home playoff game, and you got to exercise all these fucking demons. You got to beat Stafford, who couldn't deliver on this, and you have to play a hell of a game, and they did. And then all of a sudden the Packers beat the Cowboys, and you didn't think you were going to get the second game. Well, guess what? You got the second playoff game, and these things are happening, and it's not a coincidence. And just enjoy it. Do I feel really good about Sunday? Is it going to be a cakewalk? Fuck no. It's going to be close. But just take this in and enjoy this because it might not ever happen again. I think the way this franchise is set up, it probably will happen again. I think good things are coming for this franchise because they weren't supposed to be this good this year. And now they're a game away from an NFC championship.
They remind me a lot of
91?
Of the Bengals.
Oh, the Bengals. Yeah, that's a great comparison.
It's reminding me of that.
Really good comparison.
They got there and I thought they got robbed at the end, but they got there and they had the momentum, and I think the Lions got the momentum right now.
Yeah.
They need to tighten things up, especially in the second half of games. And,
there's a lot to like, though.
There's a lot to be excited about. I mean, who's not fucking excited about it? I mean, you got to be. I was so happy they won. I thought they lost. I thought they left a lot of points on the field. Every game, I feel like they just leave too much out there.
No, they do.
I hate that feeling.
They do, but you got to keep in mind it was a very emotional game. They're playing a hot team.
I get it.
I don't think the Rams were world beaters like a lot of people did, but they were still hot. They made a lot of adjustments defensively that helped them through the year, and they were scoring a lot of points as of late. And you held them to 23 points.
It didn't go the way it should have went for the Lions. I never thought they would win in a shootout with them. I thought they were dead. I said it to you. I think it was a mistake that they stopped running the football in the second half.
I know.
I didn't agree with a lot of shit, man.
The
but I'm
defenses,
glad they won.
Both defenses just figured it out in the second half. They just turned the heat up a little bit, and there was a lot of playmaking. Even though the Lions secondary was getting burned to all hell in the first half,
dude.
in the second half they weren't getting burned to all hell. They figured out how to keep Puka in front of them, and it just improved a lot better. Bruce, do you have anything to add that I missed about being at the game? Is there anything that you wanted to add? Is there anything that you saw that was intense? What was your day like? What time did you guys do your tailgating? Did you run right in? I was so frozen when I got in that I had to go. Like when I got out of the car, I immediately had to walk into the stadium because everything was cold on me. But
We got to Christopher's buddy's house for about a halftime of the Dallas game. Watched that till about the third quarter. Walked into the game. Took us like an hour to get to our fucking seats as soon as we walked through the door because it was bumper to bumper. I mean, you pretty much hit all the points, dude. It was the most electric thing I've ever
You
experienced.
trying to tell me
in
you
my
didn't get to the game till the third quarter?
No, the Dallas game.
Oh,
The Dallas game. We wanted to catch that game before going into. We wanted to see if Green Bay was just slapping the shit out of Dallas. So, and they were.
what was it like watching it? Could you see it at home? Like, was it?
100%. I will say so. You could feel the energy in the stadium through the TV. I will say that, and that's a hard thing. That's a hard thing
yeah, you normally
to
don't.
translate, and
Yeah.
you could feel it.
Yeah.
And if he agrees with me, I'm not bullshitting. So, 1,000%, you could feel it through the TV. The Puka Nacua thing, I really thought, and I was really upset about it, but I thought I was going to be spot on. I thought that I was going to be spot on because I just felt that one of those two guys between Puka and Kupp was going to have the career fucking day. And it's just, I don't know why, but every single time there's one guy that can torch them all game. And I'm glad it didn't cost them that game. I thought they did a very good job against Karen Williams. Granted, the Rams, he only had 13 carries. They didn't really feed him all that much, but the game, it ended up being a passing game like we thought. The only thing I'm going to say is, remember when we were earlier in the year, we were talking about how you had to be perfect to beat this Lions team? In my opinion, right now, Tampa Bay is going to have to be perfect to beat this Lions team. They're going to have to be perfect. And I'll be honest with you, I thought Tampa Bay played pretty goddamn close to a perfect game last night. And we'll get into that more. But right now, the Lions, they came in with that energy that we expected them to have.
I watch a Tampa game, and there's no way you could compare those two games as far as the crowd and everything else.
Oh, I mean,
there's no fucking way.
You know that.
Coming in here is going to be a different animal.
100%. And it is a different animal. And I agree with everything that Zolo said regarding the fans.
Yeah.
Detroit has now turned Ford Field. You know how nobody wants to go play at Arrowhead?
Nobody wants
People
to go
don't want to go play in Seattle.
Nobody wants
Correct.
to go play in Seattle.
Detroit is that now.
it's
You are
starting to
not
be
going
that.
to want to fucking come here and play because it's such a rabid atmosphere. And that is the biggest fucking home field advantage that you can ask for. That's it. And we have that in our hip pocket now. I thought Goff was extremely impressive. Again, did not make a mistake the whole game, in my opinion.
He made one mistake trying to do a lateral.
Yeah, that one. And then
Thank God that didn't backfire on him.
he overthrew Reynolds in the fourth quarter, too, on a big play.
It's another name that I
that's it.
wanted to bring up.
Josh Reynolds.
Josh Reynolds. And that was Zolo's call. He said Josh Reynolds' revenge game. And he did. He was 5 for 80. He had a very nice game. Would I have liked to see them run the ball more? Sure. I would have. I thought they should have. In that situation, I thought the right thing to do is keep feeding Montgomery. At the end of the day, it's all in retrospect. I think that you have to have a different game plan with Tampa coming to town than you did against the Rams. And if you execute it, it'll be perfect. I was so happy to see Matt Stafford lose. I love the fact that his wife's been groveling for 2 days, but we're over that now. We're on Tampa Bay. It is what it is. I thought it was perfect. I truly didn't think it was going to happen because to me, it was too poetic for Stafford to lose that game, right? And I mean, I thought Stafford played a really nice game too. Like, I don't have a knock on Stafford after that. I'm glad that they lost. He was obviously banged up at the end of the game. Didn't give a fuck. No excuse. Thrilled with the outcome. Thrilled with the way that they played. I thought the defense did. I was happy with every aspect of the game. I thought they coached well. I thought they played good defense. I thought Goff looked like the MVP candidate we were talking about 2 months ago. And I'm thrilled about it. Thrilled.
Real quick, you brought up how I talked about it all year. There 4 or 5 times I brought up how you got to be your best if you want to beat the Lions. Of course, they didn't play. It wasn't a 100% complete game. You know, the offense was carrying it in the first half, and the defense was carrying it in the second half. But it goes a long way when you play that well and you beat a good team, and you're looking forward. And the Bucs were off when the Lions played Tampa the first time. Baker had some overthrows.
I was there. It was awful.
It was they weren't good. They had managed 6 points, but at the same time, the Lions were. If you look at the injury report from that game, the Lions were missing.
Montgomery went out early.
Montgomery went out. Jameer Gibbs got injured in the game. Laporta was banged up. Brian Branch didn't play. Houston wasn't in the game. I think you're going to finally see James Houston on Sunday. But yeah, you got to be. I talked about it all year. This Lions team is different. This isn't same old Lions. They don't know that. A lot of these guys are so young, and they've only been a part of this fucking red hot Dan Campbell culture that they don't know what you're talking about when you say same old Lions. So yeah, historically, you're gonna get jobs.
Guys that know what same old Lions is. That's it.
Decker and Tracy Walker and Jalen Reeves maybe. But this team, when you get screwed over by Dallas, they're not going to let it derail them the rest of the year. If you have a bad injury, they're not going to let it derail them. And certainly, like if there's a big moment and Stafford's coming in here, like if this was an old Lions regime and Stafford was coming back for the first playoff game, you know, they're blowing it. But this team doesn't know that. They don't care. They don't know what same old Lions are. So they're going to play their best, and you have to be perfect because nothing phases them. They're completely unfazed. They shake everything off, and they're ready to go at all times. And you have to come to play if you expect to beat that Lions team. You certainly, not only you have to come to play, but you got to be near perfect if you want to try and beat the Lions at Ford Field.
I will say, okay, the only thing that I had issues with, again, if the Lions don't make huge strides in the secondary in the offseason, Cam Sutton's a joke. I'm sorry.
He's a cornerback too. He's a second cornerback.
He's just not good.
Yeah.
He's not good. There's a couple times where you had him matched up on Puka. There was one time where I saw a linebacker manned up on Puka Nacua. That can't happen. That can't happen. I don't know if he busted him so bad that Anzalone just ran to him and tried to do something, but that can't happen. The secondary is the Achilles heel of this team. And I don't think that it's going to cost them against Tampa.
The corners.
Because, yes, safety-wise, you look good. The cornerbacks right now, though, it's bad. It's bad. And you know going into this Tampa game that Mike Evans is probably going to go fucking stupid. All right? You got to...
And Godwin.
Well, no, because here's the thing. They can keep one locked in. They can't keep two. So it's either going to be Evans or Godwin. One of the two are going to have a fucking monster day, and you have to compensate the rest to say, okay, yeah, sure, we'll let Mike Evans get 170 yards and a touchdown, but we've got to do everything else perfectly where they won't win the game.
Yeah.
And if they shut down Rashad White and Mike Evans eats, you come out on top and you don't care.
Yeah.
But the issues with the corners are bad, and Sutton is bad. And the only thing, regardless of how this season plays out, if they win the Super Bowl, don't win the Super Bowl, doesn't matter. You have to address that in the offseason. First thing.
I think they will.
I think so too.
I think they will. I think that that's something that you could spend money on a free agent, or you make a trade. Like, take a run at Sauce Gardner. See if the Jets are stupid. Yeah. Go take a run at Sauce Gardner. Even he had a comment.
Said everybody loved the Cam Sutton pick when they signed him. Everybody was on board with it.
I'm with you. I was on board with it.
The Mosley thing, he was hurt. What are you going to do? Dude?
I think that you just nailed it. It would look a lot better if you had Mosley. I think they had a lot riding on Mosley.
I still think their secondary is better this year than they were last year.
I'm with you.
I truly believe that.
Little piece of news before we move on. The Bills cut Leonard Fournette today from the practice squad.
Okay. He wasn't on the practice squad. I thought they brought him up to the...
They dropped him back down and then
Okay.
cut him. Wouldn't it be something if Todd Bowles picked up the phone there?
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Playoff Lenny. Anyways, anything else to add on this on the Lions-Rams game? Anything from the Rams that we saw that we didn't expect? Anything at all? I think we saw a textbook Rams game. And you have to give...
I don't think we did. I don't think Sean McVay... When Sean McVay is on, they run the ball for almost 150 yards a game, 160 yards a game.
They just didn't run the ball.
They didn't get anywhere near that.
They couldn't.
They didn't stick with it, and there was nothing they could do.
Yeah.
I mean, they gave the guy 13 carries. Against everybody else, he was tearing everybody else a new ass. So I think that was key.
Also, I thought Hutchinson had a very nice game. 2-sack game for him. I thought it was a very nice game. And you got to shout out to Lions offensive line because I thought they held up very nicely as well. In pass protection, obviously they didn't have to do all that much run blocking,
Right.
but they did a great job of pass protection against a decent Rams front. I don't personally, outside of the cornerbacking situation, I don't have a complaint from that game. And thank God Dan Campbell didn't do anything to mess it up. On the contrary, I think he coached them into that win. And that's a sign of a lot of growth.
Yeah.
Because he coached
He actually
them into
outcoached.
that
He
win.
outcoached McVay.
He outcoached McVay. And I don't think any of us thought we could sit here
I
today
didn't think we'd ever hear that.
and say that Dan Campbell outcoached Sean.
Yeah.
You saw the look on Sean McVay's face.
Yeah.
You saw that look. He knew he fucked up by punting, which I am shocked that he did that.
I am too.
I am
I was
so
too.
shocked.
I was.
And were you guys skeptical? Personally, I looked at everyone around me. I go, you need to accept that penalty because
Yes.
it knocks him out of field goal range.
That's what I was talking
It's a no-brainer. And everyone's like, no, that's the balls. You know, he should have declined it and it's fourth down.
That
well,
was
no.
the balls.
Then you give Stafford 8 yards to work with instead of the fucking 18 to work with. And you knock him out of field goal range. So I thought that was the right call from the start. I don't see the skepticism. Your defense can only give up so many 3rd and 18s and 4th and 18s. What wasn't the right call was punting. That was surrendering from Sean McVay. I don't know what he thought was going to happen, or I don't know if he saw any game film of the Lions doing that earlier in the year, where they did it to the Chargers. You know, you choke a team out with those 4-minute drives. That's what they do best. So I thought Dan Campbell outcoached Sean McVay as well. I'm happy you guys brought that up.
Okay. Anything else? You got anything else? You didn't say much. This is a big day for you.
I said what I thought. I mean, I still think they got a lot of work to do. Hopefully they're not content with just winning this game.
Okay.
You know, hopefully they show up next week and really show everybody something.
The espresso hit. I got to stand up for a minute here.
I'm telling you, they got an opportunity to really do something special.
Where do we want to go next?
Saturday.
We'll go to Saturday, okay? Saturday. I take great pride in this one. I do. Because I think there were 3 other people in this basement who picked the Cleveland Browns.
Did we all pick? I just
we all
did.
picked the Browns.
Wow.
There were 3 other
But
people.
before he gets ahead of himself, he only got 2 games out of the weekend.
Don't care.
I wanted the Texans to win, and
By the
thank
way, I
fucking
won,
God.
man.
Go ahead.
I
You
picked-
throw
Go ahead.
100 piles of shit at the wall. Eventually one
I've
is
won
going to
the last
stick.
3 weeks. But
Whatever.
We won't talk about it.
You want to know why? Because when you don't have a high IQ and no thought process, you can throw darts better. Anyways, the Cleveland Browns headed down to Houston NRG Stadium to play the Texans. Texans absolutely embarrass Uncle Sam's Lord and Savior, Joseph Flacco, sending him right back to the couch where he belongs because he is a fraud and has been a fraud and never beat a respectable team. The only other playoff team he played was
Super
the
Bowl win.
Rams.
Yeah, Super Bowl win.
You want to look behind you? Look up and behind you.
Got a Super Bowl.
Look up and behind you.
Yeah. Got a Super Bowl.
Houston makes easy work of the Browns 45-14. Who wants to start it off?
I mean, Stroud's just.
Stroud is the real thing.
It was good to see. It was good to see that there was no
I
lag.
was shocked at that Cleveland's defense. They were just, I don't know.
Listen,
They just didn't look like the Cleveland defense. They just didn't look like it.
you've
I don't.
glamorized this in your head because they've played dog shit teams for the last few
No,
months.
it's not that. It's not even that, dude. Their defense is really good, but they had no answer for Stroud. Stroud was putting the ball wherever he wanted to fucking put it.
And Joe Flacco was putting it in the hands of the Houston
Well,
Texans.
I mean, come on. I mean, early in that game, they still were in that game early. It got away from them after the turnovers, and that's going to happen.
They were
When you're playing from behind and you're trying to stay in there with a young team that's clearly very good at home, just like the Lions. So guess what? They played well, but hopefully they can get another home game.
Can you just admit to me that you bought the dream? You bought the beachfront property in Idaho that Joe Flacco fucking sold you.
I'm a Cleveland fan. I told you guys that from day one. He wasn't even the quarterback of the fucking team when I was talking about Cleveland making the playoffs. And guess what? They made it there and arguably lost more than just about every other team in the league. And to make it there was an
They
accomplishment.
lost Nick Chubb week 1.
Yeah, right there.
And what?
You just lost the guy that won the rushing title a year prior. What the fuck?
Listen,
I don't think Deshaun Watson or Nick Chubb were the difference
I
in
don't
that
either.
game.
I do.
An element that, as good as Stroud was, an element that we aren't talking about. I mean, the difference in the game was the 2 pick sixes.
Correct.
That's what
Thank
changed
you.
the game. It was the Texans D, which had been good the entire year and been consistent, and it's really good at home. But it came to play. They did their homework, and D'Amico Ryans, credit to him. Like that's why you hired him, is
coach
to get
of the
that D
year.
on track.
I wanted to point something out. Going into next year, all right, because realistically, okay, Houston has to go to Baltimore this week, and I think
I wouldn't count him out. I wouldn't count him out.
I think it'll be a good game, but ultimately, I think we know what's going to happen there. Going into next year, when you get a healthy Tank Dell back, Nico Collins, if John Mechie can put together a full season of work,
What if they add a piece?
Noah Brown, if they add a running back, hypothetically, let's just go out and say like,
Blake Corum.
well, I had one better that I kept thinking about. Derrick Henry wants to leave Tennessee. I mean, my God. Give them a whole season, healthy Stroud all season. They could be fucking scary. And they just keep adding pieces on the defense. I loved this game. I loved every second of it. Not only because didn't sell out. I didn't buy into Flacco. Thank God I didn't do that. Just like he did. But either way, I was thrilled to see Houston. Houston is a team that everybody wants to root for right now. Because when you were as bad as they have been and you're able to claw out of it like that, Houston, you want to talk about Cincinnati from 2 years ago. That's Houston. You go from worst to first.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome. I'm so glad the Joe Flacco thing's over. That's all I have to say.
Whatever. He wasn't the worst quarterback of the weekend. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, no, he was not.
No, he wasn't.
There was one that was worse in Tampa Bay. It wasn't named Baker. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I love the Texans. I'm happy. I told you. I didn't
Stroud
think
boys, stand up.
So this is a big moment for the Stroud boys. And even Nico Collins, another banger of a game. Nico Collins anytime hit. Called that one.
Yep.
I missed Njoku anytime, but Njoku still had a monster fucking game.
93
Yeah, he
yards,
did.
yeah.
And he was close. He was close to getting a
And he
touchdown.
dropped
but
a couple of balls.
He dropped some balls.
Where was Amari Cooper?
They didn't fucking look for him.
He looked banged up a little
Yeah,
bit.
he was
He
hobbled.
came up. He had a
He
big
came
catch
up,
in the
he
first
caught
quarter.
that first ball toward
Yes.
the sidelines
And came
went
up
down.
gimpy. I know what you're talking about.
Motherfucker couldn't get up. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
I know. We have a piece of business to take care of here.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do.
No, we don't.
You promised these people.
No. I said if they win.
No. You said that if they made the playoffs, you'd bark. There
No, I
is-
didn't.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You
I
said
said the
make the
championship
playoff.
game.
No.
Even
You said
confirmed.
make the playoffs.
rough.
There's a no. I
There
want.
you go.
We need a
Get your
true
bark.
bark.
Rough.
True bark.
Rough.
One. One true
Got it.
bark.
That's it. That's all you're getting.
Listen to me.
All right, everyone, let's all bark together on 3. Ready?
Will you bark with us on 3?
Rough.
1.
Can you give us 2 consecutive roughs?
That's my fucking bark,
Bark isn't a
asshole.
rough. It's a rough.
Yeah, that's a roof.
Yeah,
You got to give us a bark. A
I
true,
just did.
deep,
Full-fledged
deep from the
bark.
heart. If you
just
say you're a
did.
Browns fan,
Anyway,
you owe
dude,
this
are we
to
gonna
us.
fucking talk about football?
No.
Jesus fucking
This
Christ.
is
The
football.
people are in the people. That's what the people want.
Are you saying the dog pound isn't football?
I just said rough.
That's
I'm a Browns fan.
yeah.
Shut the fuck up, dude.
Then bark.
Shut up, dumbass.
Bark.
Shut up.
Listen,
Bark.
The chat's going crazy.
I
They,
am
they want you
massively
to bark.
disappointed. Give it to us.
Your fans
They
want you
want
to
your-
bark
Get
right
signed
now.
in and get your
Bark,
fucking free
bark,
tickets.
bark.
They want a
Fucking
deep.
bark.
No, these are
Bark.
usuals
Bark.
that are in the chat.
Bark.
These are the
Bark.
usuals.
Francesca's in there. She's pissed that you didn't bark.
Unfollowing.
Oh no,
They're
we're losing
unfollowing us.
followers. We're
Don't
losing
bark.
followers.
Unfollowed.
Dead ass. We just left. Somebody just unsubscribed because you didn't bark.
We were just at 138. Now we're at 137.
Okay.
Boo.
Shut the fuck
You're
up.
Kelly Stafford.
Hi,
We're
motherfucker.
booing you.
I'm sorry?
Keep
Suck a
attacking
dick.
me. You're
Shut
the one
the
who
fuck
said
up.
you were going to bark, and you're not barking right now.
Dog pound.
No, I'm not.
Anyways, what do you outlook for Cleveland next year?
Wow, that's so fucking poop.
Bruce just. Said,
I don't know, dude.
Bruce just
I
said
think
you
they
were
got a lot of
fucking
issues
poop.
right now.
Bruce just said you were fucking poop.
Yeah.
Here,
whatever.
we'll simplify the question, even though it's going to make the question a lot harder. Who's under center for Cleveland next year?
I don't know. I don't think it's going to be Watson.
Based on the draft assets that they gave up and the money that they're paying, it's kind of got to be Watson to start at least.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough to say. I mean, does Chubb come back? Is he going to come back and be effective? They got a lot of issues,
The
especially
good news-
offensively.
The good news on ACLs is they're no longer a death sentence. Like an Achilles is now the new ACL, and even still, guys are coming back from torn Achilles. I think Chubb should be fine
Yeah.
because he was a bastard.
I thought they were
looks like he
missing that
squats a
kid
lot.
too. What's his name? The one kid I like.
Ford.
No, not Ford. Not the running back. The receiver. Elijah Moore.
Elijah Moore. Yeah, that's right.
They were missing him too. You know, and I think that was an issue because he was actually playing pretty well with Flacco. You know. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think it's over. I think that'll be a tough division for years to come. You're going to see them guys battle it out. You know, right now, I mean, the shittiest division in football, I think, is the NFC East, with how bad these fucking teams have looked.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, you had 2 fucking teams go to the playoffs this year and last year. One went to the Super Bowl, and now that whole fucking division looks like nobody can go do anything.
I think he's trying to jump to Sunday. If you wanna, you know,
What do
do
you
a
mean
little.
jump to Sunday?
If you want to do a little Sunday action, then go back to the Saturday night game.
No, I'm just saying. I was just saying. That looks like a shitty division right now.
We could jump to Sunday, and we could talk about that division right now. You say the word. This is your show.
We got one more game. What's the other game on Saturday?
The Miami Dolphins
There
headed
you
to
go.
Arrowhead Stadium to play the Kansas City Chiefs. And like Uncle Sam has always said, the road to the Super Bowl goes
That's it.
through Arrowhead. Unfortunately, it doesn't. It now goes through Highmark. But the Miami Dolphins, second coldest recorded NFL game on record. It was -9 at one point with a wind chill of -34 in Kansas City. And my God, the Dolphins played like a team from South Beach going into Antarctica to play a football game. And on top of that, they looked like a very injured one. Kansas City wins this game pretty easily, 26-7. Miami with a lone touchdown in the second quarter to tie things up. Or no, they didn't tie it up. It was a
I think it was
field goal
10-7
game
at some point. Yeah,
it was a
10-7 at one
10-7
point.
game at one
It,
point.
it was clear what went on there. I mean, come on. Miami missed so many guys on their defense.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
And on their offense. I mean, Jalen Waddle was a non-factor. The running game never developed at all.
Their defense was decimated.
Their
They
defense
literally
is
got guys off the street just to play that game.
Something we've never said about a McDaniels team from an offensive standpoint. Obviously, the defense has had their issues. Of course, last year they brought in Vic Fangio. They signed Jalen Ramsey. Defensively, we've been able to say it, but offensively, we haven't been able to say that a McDaniels team wasn't prepared. This McDaniels team was not. It did not have a game plan offensively. It wasn't prepared, which is crazy because for the most part, it was healthy. You had Achane, you had Mostert, you had Waddle. I don't know what would have made the difference. And Tua couldn't make the throws. They couldn't run the ball. I know the turf wasn't great and it wasn't safe, but when the opposing quarterback's making plays, and that was the most that's the most life we've seen out of Mahomes since October. You need to be able to make plays, and they didn't make any plays. I think that truly would have been a game if there was some playmaking, and that's on Mike McDaniels. I think his offense just wasn't really prepared Sunday.
Yeah,
the defense, I'm with you.
He was pretty much dog shit.
You nailed it head on with the defense. There was we saw the Lions defense when they were missing all the pieces. It still won some games, but they were missing one too many pieces defensively to go into Arrowhead and win.
I mean, it was Christian Wilkins and
Ramsey,
some other guys.
Ramsey.
I don't even know who the fuck.
Even Van Ginkel was injured, and Van Ginkel's a sub.
He was banged up too.
Exactly.
He gutted it out and tried to play. I'll give him that.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill had frozen ass lips the whole game.
Justin
Houston
without
went
Chubb and without Phillips, they were fucked. They're fucked.
Some guys on the Miami team had an issue. Justin Houston was celebrating in the Chiefs locker room after the game.
You know, Justin Houston was actually drafted by.
Was he celebrating, or did he go in and say like, "What's up" to the boys that he used to play with?
Supposedly, it was quote unquote celebrating
In the Chiefs locker room.
Yeah.
He was drafted by them.
Yes, I get that, but he's
So,
playing for Miami.
Whatever. He signed 2 days before
I'm
the fucking
aware.
game.
I'm aware, but still, and that's the other thing. I mean, they had to get Justin Houston and Melvin Ingram off the street just to have bodies to throw out there. That's
Correct.
how bad the injury situation was for Miami.
Justin Houston's a pro. I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah, he's just saying what's up. That's all. It's got nothing to do with.
This one hurt. This one hurt because
Hurt you?
Yeah, because Miami was my pick to go to the Super Bowl out of the AFC from the beginning of the year, and now you went from Miami being essentially the second or third favorite to go to the Super Bowl out of the AFC to everybody saying that Tua should be replaced after this, and McDaniel doesn't know how to keep a team together for a whole season, and there's a whole lot of swirling shit right now. I
thought Tua was pretty good this year.
I thought Tua was very, very good this year up until the end of it. It kind of unraveled at the end. At the end of the day, you lost.
Started
Waddle.
2 weeks ago when
Lost
guys
Mostert.
started to go down.
Correct.
Honestly, I disagree on Waddle and Mostert. It's the defense.
The defense was the
defense.
biggest issue, but there was a lot of talk today about Tua's numbers dwindling as the season got deeper.
Well, because you're facing better teams too.
Yeah.
Playoff.
They needed a game changer for them was losing that Monday night game against the Titans.
Yeah.
That changed. I mean, and they had a couple like choke worthy. They didn't lose. No, they beat the Raiders. But they had a couple losses that were kind of eye opening. And if you get
Philly in a tight game.
Yeah, that was a different Philly team.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a great example. You could have beat Philly. Who else? Baltimore kind of pushed their shit in, but you needed. I mean, they lost a close one to Buffalo to end the year.
Right.
They needed one game, and it was the Titans game.
Remember, if they hadn't lost that one last game of the year, they would have had home field. They would have won the division.
Correct. If they take care of their business
Right.
and beat Buffalo week 18,
We wouldn't even be talking about
they're
it.
a 2 seed and they're hosting fucking. I think they would have hosted Buffalo
Yeah.
again
Buffalo would have had to go to fucking
to Miami again to
And I
play the
think they
same
would
game.
have had a better chance of beating them in Miami.
100%. They didn't have anybody that could cover a
Buffalo
She-Rise.
didn't impress me in their win anyway.
I'm going to say this much, though. Actually, I'm going to ask you. Did Kansas City impress you in that win?
Oh yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, because I thought they were in worse shape than what they are.
I
Same.
thought that was the best
I thought they were
game.
close to being Philly.
That was the best game that we've seen out of Kansas City in like 2 months.
Yeah. Mahomes, he wasn't perfect, but he was pretty good. Kelsey had a lot of drops, but they found a way to get Kelsey involved in the offense. And then another call I had was Rashee Rice going off.
Rashee Rice went off.
And Rashee, I mean,
He's
that's
been going off
that's
for about
good.
the last 6 weeks.
That's good. And I was wrong about something. Was I thought Kelsey was on the verge of retiring. He came out and said like he wants to keep doing this thing. I'm sure he's going to be inspired by his brother retiring and want to keep it going. So if you have Kelsey and Rashee Rice, get that man another receiver. Go get a free agent, draft someone, whatever. And the Chiefs could be a force. Like they can continue to be a force.
There's the most perfect name in the world sitting right out there for the taking. And if Tampa Bay loses this week, I think that Mike Evans probably does walk away from there. And my God, you want to talk about the perfect complement to all those guys in Kansas City? I think Mike Evans is the most perfect fucking fit for there. Perfect fit.
Todd
Talk
Bowles
about-
is like a fucking cat.
I think
9 fucking lives.
I think you guys are. I think it's you who's pushing this narrative. I still think Mike Evans stays. I think
I
he's a loyal son of a bitch. And they made a second playoff game.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a lot to like about Tampa. So I think he's going to stay there. That being said, yeah, the Chiefs should be the first team in line for any major. If A.J. Brown wants out of Philly, pick up the phone. If you can make a play for Keon Coleman or the LSU receiver, Neighbors, whatever, you better trade up to get him. Whoever else, any receiver, any big name receiver, you throw him in there with Kelsey and Rice, and you instantly give Mahomes arguably his best pass catching core that he's ever had.
You're going to have a lot of top receivers in the free agent market this year. I truly believe you're going to see guys. You're going to see guys get cap casualties. Guys like Mike Williams, Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen could end up being.
Fuck, you know.
That'd be a great spot for
imagine
Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen
That'd be a
going to
great spot
Pat
for Keenan Allen.
Mahomes?
It'll never happen because it's within the division. He'd have to be a free agent. They're not going to trade him.
Right.
But Keenan Allen is a perfect fit for Mahomes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I agree. Next up, we're going to head down to Jerry World and talk about this absolute fucking debacle. And guess what?
Bruce, can I get a fart noise?
I'm pissed. I'm pissed that I went against my fucking,
Was that good?
my constant gut feeling. Bruce, that's the best thing you've done in a long time was make a fart noise. Congratulations.
Thank you.
From week 1 of this year, from the first episode we recorded, I've gone with the narrative. Dallas will win 12 or 13 games. I predicted them to win 13. And they'll lose in the first round of the playoffs. And I told myself before we picked this game, there's no fucking way. There's no way that Dak could be a possible MVP finalist. And Jerry Jones pushing this we gotta win now narrative, and the defense looking as good as it has, and Mike McCarthy actually calling a decent games. There's no way Dallas drops the ball and fucking shits the bed week 1. I said they'd shit the bed week 2 when Detroit went back to play them, but I thought there's no chance. They shit the bed against a Green Bay team that won 9 games with Jordan Love, who's been on, off all year, and a bunch of young little receivers that nobody's all that too high on, and Aaron Jones, who couldn't do shit for half the season, and they went in there and absolutely punched him right in the fucking
Jesus Christ
mouth.
came down from the sky and jumped in Aaron Jones's body
And Jordan Love.
and was unfucking stoppable.
My God.
And I think this says more about the Packers more about the Cowboys than it does about the Packers.
Agree 1,000%.
Because this is the same Packers team that almost choked against the Panthers. This is the same Packers team that lost. They barely beat the Bears last week. This is the same Packers team that lost to Tampa at home, crushed by Tampa at home. Same Packers team that lost to the Giants. Like they had a bad. They could have controlled the division if they won out, and they had a really bad stretch and didn't do that. And I just think that their coach is a good coach and had his team prepared. And another coach, go ahead, say Fatback's name.
Fatback.
My God, he was Typical Mike McCarthy.
Fatback has historically not had his team prepared
That's
for
why he
these
got
games.
fired from Green Bay.
That's why he got fired from the job that beat him. And I think it just says more. There's no reason the Cowboys should have lost this game. Close, that's one thing, because the Packers had an offense to keep it close, and they had some pieces on defense. But there's no reason that the Cowboys dominated, and that says that's a team giving up on their coach. That's a team giving up on their quarterback. That's a team giving up on their fans. Like, that was just straight giving up. And for anyone that's in fear of the Packers, oh, I don't know, Jordan fucking Love. I'm not going to read too much into it unless I see them put a statement game out against the 49ers this weekend. The Cowboys just choked.
They go into San Francisco and do what they did this weekend.
Watch out.
I would be a little nervous. I will be very fucking nervous.
Watch out. They'd still have to come to Ford Field, though.
They still have to come here. That's the only thing I like.
Yeah, and that would be an asshole punch.
It's hard to beat a team twice. It's hard to beat a team twice. There's nothing to it. And I had fears with the Lions against Tampa. I would have fears against the Packers if they came here. But we saw it all year. Like, unless you're the Bills sweeping the Dolphins, like, it's not easy. Even the Chiefs, I mean, they barely beat the Chargers. They beat them the first time. They barely beat the Chargers. They split with the Raiders. They split with the Broncos. The Ravens struggled within the division. They had 2 division losses. And it's not easy to do that. And, credit to the Packers. They did everything right. Congrats to Jordan Love. And he did it without, like, their best receiver's been Jaden Reed. Shout out to Michigan State. Their best receiver's been Jaden Reed the last couple weeks.
Shit.
He didn't do shit. He got Christian Watson back. He had Romeo Doubs all over the place.
Romeo Doubs, 151 yards and a touchdown.
And, credit to Jordan Love, but this said more about the Cowboys not being prepared. They were not ready. They looked like they didn't want to be there. Other than Dak. Dak made some bad throws.
It got to a point in that game where the Packers were like, you know what? We know we got this. And they took their foot off the whole fourth quarter.
They just let it roll.
And they just let it
roll.
Put some points up just to not make it as much of a debacle as what it was. It was horrible, dude.
Dak threw the ball 60 times.
And that's why they got
That's why they fucking lost.
Yeah.
That is why they lost.
Talk about Blake Corum. They hedged
God.
very. I don't think that Zeke's a big difference on this team, but they hedged very poorly on Tony Pollard, and it came back to bite them in the ass.
100%.
Yes,
and
I agree.
that's one that you have to look at Jerry Jones, and he's
Tony Pollard was the perfect change of pace back.
Yes.
And why they would ever think he would be a lead back, they were sadly fucking mistaken.
Aaron Jones saved his best work for the playoffs.
Yeah, my God, he's a Texas kid.
Hey,
He's from Texas.
Did I call that one too?
Playoff Aaron, yes you did.
Did I call Aaron Jones anytime?
Yes,
El Paso, Texas?
Much better than my Rico Dowdle anytime. I just thought there was no way that Dallas could have Dak throw the ball 60 fucking times
And get blown out.
I mean, my God. Mike McCarthy does deserve to lose his job. Anybody who's asking, all right, I don't care. He's won 12 games the last 3 years. That's great.
There's too many good head coaching candidates
That's the
for
other
you to
thing.
keep Mike McCarthy.
Right. It's the same. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Jerry Jones, if you keep Mike McCarthy there, you'll win 12 games next year. At some point in the year, they'll be talking about how Dak should win the MVP, and then you'll lose first round of the playoffs.
They don't just
Book
need a
it.
coach. They need to replace Dak Prescott because he's dog shit.
So
I don't give a
there's-
fuck what anybody's
That's where this gets pretty.
He's
Vice.
dog shit, dude. This guy cannot. He has all the fucking pieces there that you could ever want.
But he doesn't.
He does.
They don't have a running game.
If they were smart,
Yeah, but you know what? He's got a really good tight end. He's got three decent receivers. And they have a good offensive line. 3 of them motherfuckers made the Pro Bowl. So I don't. What else can you give this guy? It comes playoff time.
Gotta give him a coach.
I don't think it's Dak. I think it's coaching. I thought he was great this year because he showed it. It's the coaching.
You got to give him a coach.
And they have a ready-made, a tailor-made scenario. Dan Quinn's taking all these coaching interviews. Promote Dan Quinn. He can run a team, in my opinion. Did he not go to a Super Bowl?
Yes,
Didn't
he
take
did.
Atlanta to a Super Bowl?
It was a bad Super Bowl to use as an example.
Yeah,
but yes.
of course,
Sorry,
of course.
Who's his offensive coordinator there?
It was what's his face in San Francisco? Kyle Shanahan. I don't know why you're low on Kyle Shanahan. I think he's one of the
Why
best
am I
coaches
low
in the
on
league.
Kyle Shanahan? I've watched him blow game after game after big games.
That's okay.
Super Bowls. Super Bowls.
He's still a top 5 coach in football right now in pro
I
football.
know, but he coaches his way out of the fucking game.
Regardless, on Dan Quinn, you promote Dan Quinn and then do the cool thing, which is go get a young offensive mind. Don't get fucking Kellen Moore. Don't give McCarthy. Everyone thought McCarthy was a genius calling the plays this year. I was with Cowboys fans in Houston last week, and they were saying that. No. Go get a young offensive mind. Go get a running back. Maybe retool the offensive line, which is really good.
Derrick
Go
Henry.
get healthier.
No.
Get a young guy.
Imagine him running behind
Get a
that
young
line.
guy that can catch passes. Go get a young running back. And go get a young offensive mind from college. Pick out a play caller from college and let him audition. Promote Dan Quinn. You're good to go. Mike McCarthy wasn't it. He wasn't a good. He got fired in Green Bay for a reason. He had teams that underachieved for a long time. Aaron Rodgers should have had at least one more Super Bowl.
Two of the best
At least.
quarterbacks in the past 20 years that he coached.
Yeah.
Two.
Yeah.
Not one, two.
He should have had one
How
more
many
in Green
fucking
Bay.
Super Bowls did they win?
They won one, and it really wasn't because of, it was because of their defense. They didn't
Correct.
win because of Aaron Rodgers that year. They won because of the Packers' defense.
Correct.
So go get a coach.
And he won one with Favre.
I don't think McCarthy was there with Favre.
I think he was.
That was Holmgren.
Was it Holmgren or Favre?
It was Mike Holmgren with Favre. 98, 96 or 97, whenever that was Mike Holmgren.
That's before he went to Seattle.
Yeah, I think McCarthy had Favre. I think he did have Favre for a year or two, right? Or no, am I making that up?
They replaced Favre.
I don't remember if McCarthy was able to coach Favre. I know McCarthy obviously had Aaron Rodgers in his prime
he had
and choked.
Favre.
Okay, he would have had Favre right before he left for the Jets. He would have had Favre right before then.
That motherfucker's been in the league a long time. I'm surprised nobody said that.
McCarthy?
Out of 10 years, yeah, that motherfucker.
Well, because he sat on his ass in Green Bay and didn't win anything. That's why they never fired him. It was a complacent decision, and the Cowboys are the kings of complacency. I will be shocked if he doesn't get fired.
If Mike McCarthy does not get fucking fired, there's no way he can't, dude. There's
he's
no
gonna get
fucking
fired.
way he
Did you
can't.
see
I will
Jerry?
be shocked
Did
if
you
he doesn't
see
get
Jerry?
fired. Jerry
had
was
to
in
call
tears.
Jerry had to get on the phone right after that game and call Jimmy and apologize to Jimmy one more time.
Yeah,
And
really.
and my man, the lip was quivering, and he just looked like he was. There's something going on with him. I think he's on his deathbed, and he's not telling anyone. And this meant so much to him that it absolutely broke his heart. He wanted to go out a winner, and I actually feel bad for billionaire Jerry Jones. I really do.
because this should have been it for them.
Yeah.
This was the stars were aligned.
Yeah.
The stars were aligned.
I mean, at a minimum, they should have bridged to the championship game.
Correct.
They should have had no issue getting to San
They
Francisco.
had a loss going to San Francisco. What are you going to say? They lost to a better team.
Yeah, that's easy to swallow. You
Yeah.
go into Frisco and you get punched in the
Yeah,
asshole.
you got
that's
a fucking
okay.
team that won 9 games come
Yeah.
into your house and ass punch you. Hello.
When you haven't lost the game there in what, 2 years? They haven't lost a home
Yeah.
game in like 2 years.
Chris in the chat is mad at me and says I shouldn't be making any suggestions. He wants Mike McCarthy to stay there so they could lose more. And honestly, he's fucking right.
that's
Fuck,
not a-
fuck Dallas. I got 3 words that I haven't said regarding that game.
Go.
That's
Ball
Omar tells me
don't
that all
lie.
the time. He hopes they keep Mike McCarthy.
Ball don't lie. You choked. You didn't deserve it. You choked. And that's the football gods talking. And you know what? We're getting a second playoff game because we got fucked.
Well, if we would have won that Dallas game, we would have played Green Bay last week, right?
Right.
Yeah. There's a chance if they won the Dallas game. I mean, of course, it goes back to San Francisco sitting their starters. I don't think McCaffrey would have played last week no matter what.
Regardless, yeah.
Because it seems like he was actually pretty banged up. But regardless, they sat some starters. San Francisco sat some starters. And all the Lions would have had to do was beat Minnesota, and they would have had the 1 seed. And that, well, I mean, barring a San Francisco victory, of course. So that could have changed
Yeah,
everything.
Dallas beat, who was it? Buffalo? Who'd they play?
Washington.
Washington.
Yeah, but you didn't need if you had gotten the win over Dallas, which
Right.
you did get, it wouldn't have mattered. You
Right.
controlled it. You just needed to win out.
Right.
So fuck them. Ball don't lie. You're sitting at home now. Your franchise didn't deserve it. Enjoy
R.I.P.
sitting on
Jerry.
your ass.
Call Jimmy.
Call Jimmy.
See if he's got any extra.
Back up
status
the
laying
Brinks
around.
truck to Jimmy Johnson's house.
That's it.
Bring Jimmy back.
Next up, we head up to Buffalo where the game was delayed from Sunday at 1 o'clock to Monday at 4:30. And the Pittsburgh Steelers came to town. A lot of controversy after this one as well. Mike Tomlin asked about his possible contract extension after the game.
I don't think I've ever seen him as pissed off as he was.
He just walked.
Turned and walked away.
Did he hear the
fucking
Was he
bad.
mad or did he like not hear the question?
He
heard
was
it.
staring that bitch straight in
He
the
was
eyes.
staring
when
her
she
right in
asked.
the face,
And before she even
absolutely
finished,
walked off.
Before she even finished, he fucking walked away because he
The
didn't
minute
want to
she
fucking.
mentioned you still have 2 years remaining on your contract. He fucking just started walking. I was like, fuck you. That was awesome. Dumb question.
Bills come out on top in this one, 31-17.
Another team that
Pittsburgh should. I mean, you had a Mason Rudolph ran team that lost their best player last week.
and you had TJ Watt didn't play.
That's what I meant. TJ Watt.
Yeah.
He was out.
Without him, you're not going to win much.
I will say this. I didn't think Pittsburgh's defense did a bad job against this team.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody really ate against them. James Cook, the second half of the year for Buffalo, ever since they got a new offensive coordinator in there, I think James Cook has established himself a little bit. They have that run game clicking. Josh Allen didn't make any fucking dumb 80-yard bomb mistakes. I thought he played a clean game. And ultimately, Buffalo's just a better team than Pittsburgh, especially Pittsburgh without TJ Watt. Both the tight ends had touchdowns for Buffalo.
Najee Harris hurt.
No, he had a decent game.
Najee Harris had 37 yards.
Oh, never mind. Warren had a decent.
Warren had
I
38
didn't see
yards.
Najee Harris. Was he hurt?
I think
I'll go fuck myself.
Najee kind of
I'll
got
go
the
fuck
first
me.
half. Warren, they weren't able to run the football. I mean, it was just
Can I say something?
Mason fucking Rudolph.
Can I say something real quick? I was outside for about 15 minutes on Sunday, and it was dangerous.
Yeah.
It was absolutely dangerous. There's no reason to be playing these games in this fucking weather.
Oh, come on, dude.
Nope. Nope. Because I want to see these players at their best, like what we got out of Stafford and Goff because they were indoors. I want to see these players be able to shine with no issues with the turf, with no unsafe playing conditions. I don't want games getting moved. I think it's horseshit that you can make it this far, and it comes down to how cold is it.
I think it's horseshit that they made fucking Ford Field a fucking inside dome. I would have been outside.
Retractable roof.
Had all that fucking shit coming off the water on you.
Retractable
Football
roof.
was made to be played outside.
No,
not inside.
no, because you didn't get to see the passing games, and you didn't get to
mean?
see. You didn't get to see it. Like you didn't like. I didn't
I
get to
was
see.
at Buffalo. I seen Jim Kelly throw the ball at Buffalo in the fucking snow. Don't tell me that.
No, but
I
like
was fucking there. Dude.
I don't want these. I don't want the weather to be a story for these
It's
games.
always a story in Buffalo, dude. It's every year.
I don't want that anymore.
Oh, come on.
I don't want that. By the way, the new stadium. There's this theory that they started the winning streak. I saw this on Barstool today. They started the winning streak. Someone actually accidentally fell into the pit where the new stadium is. So before every game, they're sacrificing someone to the pit, and they haven't lost since they've done that. They're throwing fans into the new stadium,
Let them throw Bruce in the pit.
which
I
I think is
thought-
genius.
I thought Bruce was going to go up there. They were paying $20 an hour for you to shovel the field.
That's it.
And they were
I was-
inviting anybody who wanted to go.
I was like, hey, you get to stay and watch the game if you shovel out the field.
Yeah.
They should let you stay there and fucking watch the game.
It was
I
the night
agree.
of the snow.
I agree with you.
You
They-
should have went.
Paying for.
You should have went.
You should have. That's more money.
Pow, dude.
That's more money than you've ever seen in your life. $20 an hour. You stay there all weekend. You would have been rich, and then you could have went to the game.
God.
Why would I want to go to Buffalo? I hate Josh Allen.
Hey,
I hate the
you
Bills.
could have went to God, I'm having an Anchor Bar and got some fucking wings with your $20 an hour, nice beer,
Or
watch the Bills
I
game.
could spend $70 and go snowboarding instead of watching Josh Allen eat shit all day.
Josh Allen didn't eat shit. I thought Josh Allen.
He played the fucking Steelers. I don't want to hear it, dude. They're not
And
going
guess
to
what?
last much longer. The
At the
Chiefs are
end-
about to take him out anyway.
Well, that's gonna be that's for Thursday's show. But God,
Yeah, don't tip your picks. Don't tip your picks. There's people that we need to tune in on Thursday for their tickets.
And honest, I thought Buffalo's defense played a pretty decent game too. As banged up again,
Yeah.
Buffalo's defense is banged up.
Mm-hmm.
They're very banged up, and I thought they played a decent game. Granted, it was Mason Rudolph, and Mike Tomlin asked him to throw the ball 40 fucking times, and you're not gonna win like.
And that's now the most intriguing game of the weekend. Now, I'm very intrigued by Mahomes going on the road for the first time in his playoff career and having to go to Buffalo.
Yeah,
the favor finally gets returned. I didn't think. I mean, of course, if Kansas City looked better than Buffalo this weekend, but. It's exciting. The concept is exciting to me that's finally going to happen. That the return game is finally there, and I'm excited to see those fans. Like the Buffalo fans are going to fucking bring it on Sunday. Is that Sunday or Saturday?
I believe it's a
Buffalo
Saturday
fans
game.
are the only thing.
No, it's the Sunday night game. It's the Sunday 6 o'clock game. Yeah.
Do you know what the weather report looks like?
Probably stupid.
14. With
Better,
the lake
that's
effect,
better than 0.
14 lake effect snow warning and wind gusts up to 50 miles an hour.
That's fucking stupid.
It's awesome.
No, it's not. Because the story should
That's
be the
awesome.
quarterbacks in this game. The story should be Travis Kelce and Diggs and Mahomes and Allen and catching balls. And it's going to come down
The
to
elements are part of the game, Mike.
no,
The elements are part of the game.
no. I don't.
been that way.
I understand that.
Football was
I understand
created
that.
for that.
Fair. And it was created in the North too. Fair. 100%. I don't want that anymore. I want to
What do
see
you
these.
mean you don't want it anymore?
I don't want I want to see these players at their best. I want to see the athletes at their best. And you don't get that in the cold and in the elements. You have
remember
guys that are really good at tackling that are afraid to tackle guys in the cold.
I remember the Raiders going to Three River Stadium
The
with
Raiders.
a foot of snow on
I don't
the
want to
sideline.
play remember when, though. I don't want to
Why?
hear about fucking Marcus Allen having 300 yards in the snow.
Well, if these
I
guys
don't
were
want
allowed
that.
to hit each other like they were back in the day, you would get the best out of them in the snow.
I think Kirby Joseph's hitting people just fine. He's taken out 2 ACLs in the last month.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't get thrown out.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't gotten the fine yet. Probably will come. Three Rivers Stadium. Where was Three Rivers Stadium?
It was at the point in Pittsburgh. It was at the
Hold on, hold on.
It's Pittsburgh.
It was the Pirates Stadium.
They shared it. They shared it with the
Three
Steelers.
Rivers.
They
Shared
shared
that
it.
for a fucking.
Oh, they blew it up already. It's not even there anymore.
Yeah, you got Heinz Field
I'm
and
just
PNC
saying,
Park
I
now.
remember when the Steelers played at Three Rivers Stadium and that fucking wind. And
Did
that
you ever
snow
go
coming
to
off the
Three
lake.
Rivers Stadium?
No, I was never there.
Then what the fuck do you mean you remember the snow and the
I
wind
remember
coming off
watching
the lake?
that on TV.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah. Anyways, I have been to Cleveland though.
I've been to Cleveland.
Yeah, but you still won't bark.
I didn't see shitty
True
weather in
pussy
Cleveland
won't
though.
bark.
The weather wasn't shitty when I was in Cleveland. It was nice. I think we got one more game.
Next up, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Kegels headed down to Tampa Bay to play the Buccaneers.
Bruce, can I get a fart noise?
It's at this point where I guess I'm going to have to explain myself. Tampa Bay won this game 32-9. We want to talk, and you guys will probably disagree with me on this. To me, this game said more about Philadelphia than it did about Tampa Bay. I know it's close.
Let me think about it.
It's close, but
This is fresh. Let me think.
I'd like to say my piece here. Okay? As far as Tampa Bay goes, I think that I have not given the coaching staff for Tampa Bay enough credit. At times, they do the most boner, stupid fucking shit ever. And the way that offense looked against Carolina a week ago versus now looked like two different teams. Okay? Defensively, I think they managed that game perfectly. I think the secondary looked lights out. They gave up a couple big plays, but outside of that, I thought they played a really nice game. Swift broke a couple, I want to call them big runs. I think he had a 17-yarder and a fucking 10-yarder. That was his whole game pretty much. Outside of that, they contained him. They didn't let Jalen Hurts run rampant. He didn't even try it. They stopped him on the fucking tush push. I thought Tampa played a really nice game. And they did it with Cade Otton leading the way for the offense. And they did it by pounding the ball with Rachaad White. And Baker Mayfield did it by playing a really nice, clean game. And I give no credit to this team, and I give no credit to Baker Mayfield ever. So, this means a lot.
He had over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Correct. And you can't knock that. You cannot knock a guy against that.
No.
He made the throws.
He made the throws. He made the throws, especially against the Philadelphia Eagles. But herein lies the problem. The Philadelphia Eagle team that we saw not only yesterday, but for the last 2 months is not the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know what that is. I don't know. It's Matt Patricia. It's Patricia. No, I'm Patricia.
Ding, 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 ding.
It was
1 in 6 since Patricia took over the defense.
Defensively, they look confused. They look like they had no idea what was coming. They couldn't. I personally don't think they did a good job at all of pressuring the fucking quarterback.
You had the 2 oldest guys on the defense getting to the quarterback.
Yes.
Brandon
What
Graham
did
and
a
fucking
great
Fletcher
job.
Cox.
What are
That
we
was it.
doing?
Brandon
All right?
Graham announced he's coming back for 1 more year, by the
Yeah,
way.
he did. The corpse of the ghost of Brandon Graham.
No, it's my
Listen,
boy.
Goes to
The
Brandon
fucking
Graham.
here's the thing. The middle of their defensive line is supposed to be where they're eating. And you're letting Rashad White ate yesterday. He had 89 yards. He averaged 4.2 yards per carry. That's Philadelphia bread and fucking butter. Bread and butter.
Okay, they don't have any linebackers on that team that are any good.
Hold on.
They got one guy that they picked up in free agency. He hasn't even been there what's he been there, 5 weeks, 4 weeks, if that, 4 weeks?
Who are we in reference to?
Darius Leonard.
I don't even think Darius Leonard fucking played, dude.
Yeah.
I don't
Got
even think
him
he
and the
played.
kid they got from the Texans. The inside linebacker. from
Cunningham?
Cunningham. Zach Cunningham.
Okay. There's
they
your
got?
there's your reasoning for how Cade Otton had 88 receptions for 89 yards. Because they don't have anybody to cover him. Okay? The other side of that was they got burned on, listen to this.
Bradbury.
Whoever the fuck David Moore is, 44-yard touchdown reception. Trey Palmer, 56-yard touchdown reception.
Hold on. In fairness to Trey Palmer, every time he tweets that he woke up angry this morning, he scores a
He
touchdown.
scores a
that game.
touchdown.
And there's like 8 instances of that, including yesterday. He woke up angry yesterday, so he was going to score. I mean, it is what it is. That's science.
For me personally, if you are the Philadelphia, what's his name, Laurie, the owner,
Jeff Lurie.
without question, in my memory, this was the biggest collapse without losing your starting quarterback to injury. This was the biggest, and honest to God, maybe even with that, the biggest collapse that I can remember from an NFL team ever. You were 10-1. 10-1. Coming off of a Super Bowl loss where you had your entire team that all these veterans wanted to come back and run it back so they could win it this year.
And you drafted Jalen Carter.
And you completely fell apart. You've been right for the last 2 months. Sirianni completely lost his team. They made a massive mistake by bringing Patricia in to call the defense. Shane Steichen was the reason why the offense clicked the way that it did last year.
Jonathan Gannon's the reason why that defense was top fucking 5 last year.
Hurts the last 8 weeks has looked like nothing more than a system fucking quarterback. I'm sorry, who's made his name off of his offensive line pushing him for first downs and touchdowns.
Which they didn't successfully do yet.
Which, yes, Tampa was the one that was able to fucking stop him. Because at the end of the day, if you look at Tampa's front, that's the one aspect of this game against the Lions that scares me. Because Cansey and Vita Vea and all those guys, that is an extremely underrated
Cansey's gotten better every week.
single fucking game.
Every week.
Vita Vea is probably top 5 in this
Extremely
position.
underrated run defense for Tampa Bay. And it was the perfect scenario. And I went against my gut and picked Philadelphia in this game too, because I was sitting there thinking about how you have a team that has had this much success over the last 2 years. There's no way they can't wrap it up and get it back together against Tampa Bay. There's no way. Granted, I was lower on Tampa than everybody down here. But credit due where credit's due. Baker is clicking. He's fucking hot.
Todd Bowles has 9 lives.
Todd Bowles is literally fucking Mr. Cat. Like, it's
No emotion. You ever notice that he just sits there blank stared?
I don't know how he continues to keep his job.
what because he does shit like this.
Yeah.
Todd Bowles.
Shit like
He
this.
made the playoffs
Todd Bowles.
last year.
Hold on. I thought his team was really well prepared yesterday.
Extremely well prepared.
Especially defensively. You can't fire him.
The credit
You can't.
on Baker for that.
They weren't
had
supposed to. They were supposed to literally supposed to be Caleb Williams.
Correct.
That's where Caleb Williams is supposed to go.
I had them winning 2 fucking games.
They were supposed to finish in last, and now they're in the second weekend of the. They're in the divisional weekend of the playoffs, and he's got one of the best defenses in the league.
Fucking our boy away from the Rams. He comes in and he's been good this year. He's been real good.
All Baker did was make, and I don't know if you guys know this, but Baker has a top 5 passer rating. I think he's number 3 for active quarterbacks in the playoffs. He's very serviceable. And when his guys are making plays, like Evans had some drops yesterday.
Yes, he did.
And Cade Otton had some drops too. When his guys are making plays, and he's making the throws.
He went right back to him.
Yeah,
Kept going back to him.
Good things will come for that offense. I think Rachaad White's one of the best running backs in the league.
You've been saying that for a very long time.
And
too.
he wasn't outstanding yesterday, but he was good enough to win. He still made some big plays. It was on Baker. Baker and the defense are the reason they won. But I've pondered your comment for 10 minutes, and I could see the scenario where the story is the Eagles just taking a massive shit. The Eagles should have won that game.
My God.
You know, it was still a 1-score game at the half.
Okay, and I'm sorry. You know how you said the Chiefs and AJ Brown and whichever one of you said that. You got to be out on AJ Brown. AJ Brown literally quit on this fucking team. I don't want to hear it. There was way too much controversy, way too much social media shit.
Injury last week.
Okay, here's the other thing. When you see Dallas Goedert, a guy like Dallas Goedert, who's a Tyler Lockett type, right? Consummate pro.
Yeah.
Tearing apart Jalen Hurts on the fucking sideline mid-playoff game. There is something deep going on there. They need the coaching staff's got to go. I get it. I know Hurts likes to keep this low profile, monotone, don't say nothing, don't show your cards attitude. I'm sorry, dude. It's not cute. When you have a 10-1 fucking football team and you collapse to win 6 of 7 and get knocked out by a team that the only reason is in the playoffs is because they're in the NFC South and you get blown out by them, you are the one that has to have some answers. Sorry, and I didn't see it. I didn't see it from him.
I think Sirianni ends up getting. It's hard to fire. It's just like it was hard for Tampa to fire Todd Bowles. And then he ended up kind of redeeming them this year. It's hard to fire a coach that took a team to a Super Bowl.
He's got to go.
See, the difference
He's got to go.
is the Philly fans want him.
To me, it looks
That's
like
fine.
They want.
They
him.
arrested 6 people for throwing popcorn at the
Yeah.
fucker on his way out of the stadium last night.
It was good. If you guys haven't seen the video, it was good.
It's worth going on Twitter to see it.
Dumbest thing ever.
His coordinators, and you've been harping on this, his coordinators leaving probably killed him, which is crazy because they still came out and they were the hottest team in the NFC to start the season.
They won it on talent alone.
It was talent. I think losing Gannon and Steichen was huge for him, and replacing him with Matt Patricia, who's the offensive.
Was huge for their offense.
Yeah.
Period. You
Yeah.
know that was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Gannon actually showed everybody that he's a
Hell of a coach.
a very good football coach.
Hell of a coach.
Yeah.
And I think that's massive. I don't know who is less deserving of their job, Mike McCarthy or Nick Sirianni. Who do you
Mike
think?
McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy.
That's two.
But Sirianni's a close second. It's the problem is with Sirianni. It's he has to come up with an answer for how this happened. Right?
Hey,
it depends on that.
Listen, you got to go sit in a meeting with the owner and the fucking GM. The GM's already given you the fucking tools because you've already been there. So you can't blame the fucking GM on this deal. But the problem is obviously it's the coaching.
I think he could sit behind. It's going to be tough, but I think he could sit behind the injury argument a little bit. I think that's going to be one of his go-tos, including this game. He didn't have all the pieces he needed to succeed. I think you go out and get a good D coordinator, and there's a shot that this ship can be righted. I feel more confident about this ship being righted than Dallas, because Dallas needs more intangibles. This does not. This is just a matter of we need to fix our scheme defensively, and we'll be right there in it. That's my. I'm not making excuses.
Away defensively.
I'm not making excuses.
They need to overhaul their
linebackers
situation. They need help at safety and corner because their corners, Bradbury, You
got
guys,
benched
you
yesterday.
guys thought that fucking Cam Sutton looked bad. Bradbury looked worse than Cam Sutton.
Bradbury looked like the worst cornerback I saw all weekend, and he got benched yesterday.
Yeah.
And then they put him back in.
Yeah.
And the next play they put him back in is when Palmer beat him on that touchdown.
Right.
It's bad. But again, there's too much talent there to just to justify this.
Yeah.
There's got to be something deeper.
I
And
don't
Sirianni-
see how Sirianni could sit there with a straight face and tell ownership that I'm going to bring Matt Patricia in to call my defense for the last 6 weeks of the year. And you absolutely get fucking embarrassed in just about every one of those games.
Listen,
That's ridiculous.
That's like choosing to get an STD. That's like
I'm
you
gonna
go.
choose to get the drip.
You go and you get a clean bill of health from a doctor and you go, you know what? I think I want the clap. That's what bringing Matt Patricia into your defense is.
yeah, I can't disagree with that. It's Sirianni's job will depend on the answer. I truly think the answer that he gives for how this fucking happened. Because there's no excuse.
No.
There's no excuse.
Because they were in line to, and even early on, dude, they won fucking 10 out of their first 12 games. Come on.
Another issue, though, is as I brought up, there's so many good head coaching candidates out there right now. And yeah, he's going to have to answer for his crimes, of course. But also, you can make the case that he turned everything around in 2 years. He got to a Super Bowl in his second year. So how are the Eagles going to justify, well, we think we have a candidate that's better than him? You know, so it's a twofold argument. Like it's like Sirianni's got to answer what the hell happened. And Philly, yes, Bruce.
Would you say Nick Sirianni's a rah-rah guy or a numbers guy?
I think he's a rah-rah guy.
I know he's a rah-rah guy. He's the furthest
Now,
thing
this
from
is
a
just
numbers
what I was
guy.
thinking about is if you took Dan Campbell and took away all of his coordinators and Brad Holmes didn't do anything or Dan Campbell didn't do anything to bring anybody actual help in there, we would all be calling for Dan Campbell's head. Would we not?
Yeah, there's a good chance. Dan Campbell's a combination of
Look coming
rah-rah
into
numbers.
this year.
And I
We're
think
coming into this year that they didn't do anything on defense.
Sirianni's still like he's still a good offensive mind. Like he's had success everywhere he's been, from Philly to Indy back to Philly. Like he's not an idiot.
No, he's a head coach for a reason.
There's just a lot of execution that didn't happen down the stretch. It
lot of bad
just
decisions.
Wouldn't it
spiraled.
be
Fucking
maybe
horrible
try to get
decisions down
some
the stretch.
actual
Yeah.
help in there for him instead of putting all the blame on him?
No, it's not. It's not. Bringing help in. Sirianni's the one
Like
who's hiring
actual
coordinators.
coordinators.
Sirianni's the one hiring. Sirianni, if you don't think the coach of an NFL team has a decision making,
He's only had a season. Though.
Guess what? You can't. They won 10. They were 10-1. So it worked. It was working, and you went 10-1, and then got rid of your defensive fucking coordinator at 10-1 because the defense.
No, they had lost. They had lost quite a few games before they got rid of him.
Dude, Patricia's been there for the last month. He was
Longer,
there for the last 4 games.
Yeah,
6 games.
6 games.
6 games. He took over after the bye.
Correct.
They changed everything up after the bye.
That was a kiss of death. That was truly.
That was, and they
That's
won.
the
They
thing.
won
Yeah.
one game since.
And they
then.
had that crazy stretch. They had San Francisco, Dallas, Kansas City. I remember we talked about it. They won in Kansas City
gauntlet.
despite Kansas City choked that game away.
Yeah,
like looking
and
back on it.
That was the last game that defensive coordinator coached in.
Yeah.
And
He was gone then,
cocksucker,
and Patricia was put in.
he was out there after the game in the tunnel screaming about how, suck it, Phil. Shut up, Chiefs fans. You know what I mean? And who got the fucking last laugh again?
Sirianni's a wop like us. We gotta be careful.
But you know something,
care
dude?
about
You can't justify. I'm sorry.
That's your
I would like
Polish
to
guy.
trade him.
You guys
I'm not a
Polish guys,
Sirianni
don't know.
guy. I wasn't impressed with him anyway, but
Listen to me. You don't.
I was not a Sirianni guy. Don't go there, dude. I was not a Sirianni.
Are you a Patricia guy?
Do you think I'm a Patricia guy?
What would if you had to use a word to describe Patricia? What would it be?
I
Cunt.
know what it is.
Mine would be cunt.
What?
Huh?
What?
Shitbag.
Shitbag. I thought it was a tub of shit. Or is McCarthy the tub of shit? And Patricia's the shit
McCarthy
bag.
listen, McCarthy's not a bad football coach. McCarthy just can't get through to these guys. He's old. Nobody wants to listen to him. And look at him, dude. What do you
Look
what's he gonna
at him.
tell you?
I mean, God, is he
You know what he's
fucking
gonna tell
ugly,
you?
dude.
What?
Bacon.
He is fucking ugly. Okay. That pretty much.
Paying for ass his whole life.
Who, Mike McCarthy?
Oh, yeah.
Is he married?
I don't know.
Yeah, to someone he paid for.
I'm sure somebody fucking fell into that trap.
Someone he met
got
at
money. Got money,
the
I'm
one
sure.
strip club in Green Bay is called Oval Office.
That thing where you like.
He does have a wife.
You have kids? Did he reproduce or no? Hopefully not.
Yes, he does.
Did he reproduce?
He has. Hold on. He has 5 children.
Wow.
He has 5 children. He's been married since 1995.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
Married a long time.
been married a long time. How old is he? Oh, he's 60. He's your age. He's 60.
Fuck off.
Yeah, 5 children.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well, he should go spend some time with them now.
he might be. Between the golf course, trip to Cancun, and parent-teacher conferences, that looks like Mike McCarthy's
be
future.
a team desperate enough to break him in.
I don't think so. I don't think
No.
Mike McCarthy's a head coach in the NFL next year.
No. Jerry took a
Remember, he sat for 2 years
Yeah.
or a year before
Yeah,
he took.
Jerry took a long look at it when he wound up picking him up. We were all kind of stunned by that.
Correct.
You know, not to say Jason Garrett was any better. He was
Jason
fucking
Garrett was
just
fucking
You know
There you
what?
go.
You know what he wanted. You know what Jerry Jones wanted was a puppet. He wanted a shill. He knew he wasn't getting a coach. He wanted someone that he can control.
Well, that was Jason Garrett all those fucking years, dude.
Eventually, it was Jason Garrett, and maybe
Yeah.
that's why Bill Parcells didn't work. Because didn't he resign? Didn't Bill Parcells resign?
Yeah.
Well, so now this is the big question.
Belichick's not going there.
Well, is Jerry insane and he'll continue doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, and go out and fucking hire Arthur Smith?
They're the only ones
Or
that
you
haven't
go
been
for-
doing what the league has been doing, which is hire a good young offensive mind that's not a experienced head coach. That formula has worked for a lot of teams. Okay?
And it's backfired for a lot of teams too, though.
For the most part, it's worked. You don't need a coach with experience. You don't need that. You need a good coach. You need probably a former player, so someone that can relate to the players and gets respect in the locker room. Someone who's younger and someone who has ideas.
You know who I could see going to Dallas? Vrabel.
That's not a bad fit. But Vrabel can't be like.
Repeat of what Mike McCarthy did.
You can't have control over Vrabel. Like, you got to let the guy coach. And Vrabel, conversely, one of the reasons I read the article in The Athletic on why Vrabel got axed, Vrabel's got to be okay with someone else in control. He's got to be okay with Jerry Jones making the draft picks. But Vrabel, that's a great fit as Vrabel. I agree with that.
You have to, if you're Jerry now, you've had 2 puppets in a row. So now you've got to look inside yourself and say, okay, am I going to do the same thing over and over again and hire another puppet? Or am I going to start to go?
That and he's talking about the puppet's too long.
Right, that's what
the
I'm
problem.
saying.
All those years he wasted with fucking Jason Garrett. That was a fucking issue. You arguably had one of the better backs in the league, and you fucking had some idiot coaching him for fucking 10 years, and that's why his career went nowhere.
Absolutely.
You know?
Okay, that was a fantastic recap. For everybody who's still with us, I know there's been a lot of you today. For everybody who's still with us, if you are here to hear about the giveaway, it's detailed on our Instagram. We're giving away 2 lower bowl tickets to the Lions-Buccaneers divisional round game this weekend at Ford Field. We're only giving them to a Michigan resident because we ain't giving them to no fucking Buccaneers fans, okay? The way you enter is you need to be following the Tip Balls Instagram. You need to like our last post. It's pinned. It's right there for you. The Instagram's at Tip Balls. And you need to tag who you want to bring to the game with you in the comments. That's how you enter Thursday's show.
What they say, you said they had to give you a good reason why they should be chosen.
Well, nobody did it, so.
Thursday's show,
Isn't that what you
we're
said?
going to give it away. No, I don't need a fucking reason.
Oh,
I don't need a reason.
I thought that's what you said.
I mean, I would love to. We had a couple people who I heard.
Okay.
He did say that, but then he did say it was going to be randomized.
It's going to be random. We're giving it at random. I just want to hear people's reasons for why they want the tickets. And I mean, other than go fucking Lions, it's really all the reason you need.
It's good enough for me.
So, Leon doesn't give a piss about nothing but the Lions.
That's
What
his
does that
second
mean?
time saying.
You've never heard I don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide?
No, I've never heard.
It's an Alabama thing. So yeah,
Well, Leon's not from fucking Alabama, so I don't know what you're talking about.
must be an Inkster thing.
Must be an
Listen,
Inkster thing, a
Get that jinx
Robichaud
out of
thing.
here. It's a-
follow at Tip Balls. Make sure you like our last post. Tag who you want to bring to the game in the fucking comments. We're giving them away Thursday. Be here for Thursday's show. It's the only way you're going to know. Be here on the live between 4:30 and 5 for Thursday's show, and we're going to give away tickets. Before we end our Super Wild Card Weekend recap, do any of you have anything to add?
Riding the high. Riding the fucking high. He thinks I'm talking about being stoned, and I'm talking about the high of the Lions
Is
winning.
she making hamburger helper?
32 years.
No. Egg roll in a bowl. And it's fucking fabulous. I can't wait. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
We got some really good matchups coming up.
Yeah. So we're going to break down divisional round weekend on the Thursday show. That's going to be our preview. With the schedule the way it is right now, we're doing Tuesdays and Thursdays throughout the playoffs. So we have a Baltimore-Houston game on Saturday, a Buffalo-Kansas City game, San Francisco-Green Bay, and obviously Detroit and Tampa.
Wait. Could we? Is there a chance since there's no more Monday night games? Can we go Mondays? Can we do Monday to do it while it's fresh? Is that possible or no?
So you want to
Not
go
a bad
next
idea.
Monday? Well, yeah,
Monday.
the reason we didn't do Monday. So, yeah, we can do
We-
Monday,
The reason
Thursday.
we didn't
Yeah.
do Monday is because the games were on.
Yeah.
Monday, Thursday,
Yeah,
we're
we had
not.
games last night. So can we do Monday, Thursday? Just
Sure.
to make sure we're capitalizing while it's fresh.
So we will be back Thursday, without question, to do our divisional round preview, and then we'll be back Monday to recap it
I
all.
have a fucking headache.
So, without further ado, make sure, hey, follow our Instagram. We're giving away 2 fucking tickets. Trust me.
At TIPPEDBALLS.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. Make sure to follow our socials, Instagram, where we're doing the giveaway, and Twitter at Tip Balls, TikTok at Tip Balls Podcast. If you are listening to us on Apple or Spotify, make sure to check us out on YouTube. Remember to click subscribe and ring the bell so you get notified when we go live. Now, Monday and Thursday between 4:30 and 5. We'll be back Thursday, giveaway show, previewing Lions and Buccaneers. It's going to be pure bliss from Tip Balls. Thank you. Have a great rest of your week.